episode, the third key to how to manage and navigate times of difficulty, particularly the lockdown, but any time that you might find yourself stuck, feeling that there's a sense of major instability, change, or anything that you have no control over, this is a key for you particularly that would really help get us through the storms of life, okay? This third key is really to do with a sense of power versus powerlessness. Now, this lockdown, I know, or the quarantine and what's happening globally in terms of our losses in business, losses of family members, or losses of our privileges, freedom, in any kind of possible way that you could be affected right now. I mean, this could happen also in relationships that break down when it's not your call, your shout, or despite the fact that you weren't really happy with how things were going, and you find yourself actually having to end the relationship. That also will put you in a position while you've claimed your power, there's a sense of having to do something that you didn't really want to, maybe. Okay, so there's a lot there, but I want to sort of stick to the point of this third key and me giving you the tools to be able to help you navigate the terrain. Now, what I have been doing each week, and if you haven't seen them so far, actually they don't come out every week, but I try and keep on top of them every week. There are 2 out already specifics for the first key, which is to do with the root chakra, the energy center to do with your baseline, your family, and your tribal standing, and your foundation, which also would have been rocked, and also your sacral chakra, the second key, or the second life energy point, which is orange in color, and that's to do with kind of our sense of belonging, our sense of attunement to others, and our purpose in terms of our creativity, and how we can also ignite that sense of connection through our personal creativity. So do have a look at those vlogs if you haven't seen them. You will find it under my YouTube channel under lifestyle tips, I think, as a playlist. Otherwise, you will just see them as, you know, the second and the first key. There's also the first one, which I actually did a very quick overdrive and not overdrive, but overarching one of each of the keys very briefly. So that kind of really is in summary, without going into any greater detail about each of the keys that will help you. So if you wanted the short version of each individual ones, then I suggest that you go and check that one out. And I think that one's called 7 Keys to Help You During This Time of the COVID-19 and the lockdown. So back to the third key. The third key, like I said, is to do with our sense of power. Okay, the color that it's associated with is yellow. Okay, it's a color of the sun, the color of the solar system, which is very powerful, very radiant, and really ignites a sense of fire within us. Now, when we have too much of it, that could also work against us as well. Okay, so it can be a very egotistical, people who are very dominant, people who are very bullish, like Trump, have an overactive solar plexus. Okay, they're probably on overdrive and they're used to being that way. The chakra system actually works on the facet of they're balanced, imbalanced, overactivated, underactivated, and that sort of tends to come out in how we are and how we show up in life. Okay, now these are very practical tools that I'm giving you, but essentially they're also very much personal and spiritual tools. Now, I think for eons now, we have been driving and the world has come to a point where it's been a very person or company or hierarchical based power. And we're showing, and this has happened, as I've mentioned before, to break down the systems. Okay, the power that's been over the years, the patriarchal power has been actually dominating our social life, our collective life, our cultural lives, and our personal lives. And it is dismantling so we can actually all start claiming our own personal power and see how we can show up within that. Okay, but for the purposes of how to navigate the terrain of yourself right now, as well as maybe your family life or your relationships. And this tip that I'm giving you here, or these essences of how you can be, you know, particularly with your personal power, is not only exclusive to what is happening currently, but a template you can actually take away and transpose it into any situation in your life. So I'm just going to quickly share the screen here, and I am going to go into just bear with me, share screen. Okay, I have to put the Zoom thing on here. Okay, and I am going to bring up, nope, not this one. Oops, no, it's there again. Here, okay. Now, just for the purposes of very quick identification to what this center looks like, okay, you can visualize it as a color yellow. That's all you need to do, okay. A radiant star in your central point, which is actually just around your navel, about 2 inches around your navel, you know, sort of right at the navel, or just 2 inches. Different schools have different sort of center points, but imagine it to be your hara, okay, martial arts, we call it the hara, your center fire. Okay, this is our gut instinct. This is where we feel things, and this is often where we navigate life through. Now, a lot of ailments can also come from the lack of a harmonized chakra. This is what it looks like essentially here. You can see that it's got 10 petals. Its character or its form is seen as having 10 petals. It's golden and in yellow in color. And it's the key points mainly are to do with our ego, our personality, particularly our self-esteem and willpower, okay? And willpower also has to do with our choices that we make. So it's a sense of power versus powerlessness, which is really key to where we're all at, because in some way we actually are powerless. All right, you know, the lockdown is beyond our choice, okay, but how we decide to the choices that we make around the lockdown and how we show up is what's going to also make a huge difference. So like I said, this is in the central part of the our bodies, okay. This is where the solar plexus is, and like I said, it radiates outward to the sun, or like the sun. Okay, now with an emotional dysfunction, a lot of things that could be showing up for us, and this is, you know, I've always described the chakra system like a guitar. You know, the guitar strings need to be tuned up. They are, and when they're tuned up, that we operate far more vibrantly, authentically, and in our kind of centered, spirited selves. When they're out of tune, you know, and distorted, okay, when they're sort of out of tune and distorted, you know, we can be sort of really be into crazy making and really kind of feeling kind of being vampired or losing control, or, you know, experiencing OCD tendencies or anything like that is a dysfunction of the solar plexus. But just to kind of give you a sense of what could be happening individually right now, okay, there could be a sense of you know, maybe a resentment that this is out of your control, you know, that you know, you might be losing your job, or you don't know what's going to be happening, or why is this happening to me, you know, or when we sense a feel of powerlessness, that is very much in the negative. The other thing also that could be happening for some of us could be a sense of boredom. Okay, now, you know, you know, the weather has changed here in the UK. We've had some glorious weather, so lots of people have been going out, and in some cases I feel like been kind of behaving as if there's no lockdown, kind of almost parading outdoors, you know, in the summer gear, and kind of summer picnicking, and you know, people queuing up, kids with on bicycles and whatever, you know, which is kind of great. But I'm just thinking, well, actually this is kind of like, you know, a serious matter, and people are queuing up for ice cream as if nothing's happening and whatever. So I think what's happened now here, literally, we're going in, and we're in the thick of this lockdown now. We're several weeks into it. I think in the last count that I saw someone in Facebook, it was 44 days, and that was a few days ago. So, you know, we're fast approaching, you know, quite a few days here. And there is going to be a change in how we're operating within this transition. Okay, at first it might be a novelty. At first it was a shock, you know, and then so the adjustment, slight adjustment, then becomes the kind of the novelty starts to become appealing. You know, you're starting to discover other things that you can do from home. And everyone's experience is going to be different, so it's no right or wrong, but just to be attentive to your experience of it. But what could be happening right now is the longevity has been kicking in. Nobody really quite knows when we're going to come out of this. And this is for anything as well. We never really can map out with certainty a transition of what we're going through. So the solar plexus definitely could be affected in this situation, because we have a sense of powerlessness and we can go into the negative. So one of the negative factors is a sense of boredom, all right, and then and not having any control. So you might start becoming controlling in other areas of your life, okay? So you might want to sort of manically clean the house all the time, or control your members of your family, you know, because again, when you don't have control externally, what we try and do is kind of start panicking from the inside and then project that outwardly. Okay, so a control freak is one of the negatives of this thing, or this thing, you know, this situation. Okay, it's when you feel anger is another one where you feel our power violated. So people in domestic violence situations, in relationships, be it here, now, in the lockdown, or any other time, a person that's violating you, a person that's bullying or aggressive, often in fact feel very powerless, and this is why they actually do the complete opposite. Now, what you can do as a person of a situation like that is hold on to your power. That's when you have power. So you might avoid answering them back. You might avoid being in the same room with them. Okay, it's hard, but you do not feed it. That's where you have power. Okay, so it's recognizing where we have power versus where we don't have power. Okay, yeah, so a sense of indecisiveness, okay, that could also start happening, and you start going through phases in life when we feel indecisive. That is also a sense of, you know, when your solar plexus is out. So it's a really good thing to be tuning in to the color yellow as we, you know, start thinking about how this can be done. This can be done by just thinking of the color yellow, and you radiate that in your mind's eye through your center. Very important, and that can be done just by visualizing it. Okay, another really good way, you know, since we're not going out in the sunshine right now, is to actually not only radiate the color in your mind's eye. Okay, so visualization is very, very helpful. There's lots of YouTube what you call it, meditations on solar plexuses as well, and I will be doing my own sort of the whole chakra system very shortly, once I get these life script lockdown or instable times, the 7 keys that I'm doing. But to just stay on point, one thing you can do is just practice your own visualization of focusing on this sacral chakra. Okay, very important that you can do that yourself. You can think about, if you look at this diagram again, you can think about really drawing the power into your own belly and start visualizing it so it starts radiating out. Don't worry, the body has its natural intelligence, and it will balance, activate, and harmonize according to what you need. Your intention is to balance it and to activate it in a way that is in harmony to yourself and to the rest of the world or the people around you. Okay, so it will start naturally, almost like what's that word? I forget. Oh, not a placebo, the other one, when I can't think of it, but when it basically just readjusts itself according to your system. Okay, so you've got to trust that. Physical, I'm not going to go too much into the physical thing, but one thing that classically, when your digestive system is out, is a solar plexus issue. Okay, people that also have to, tend to hold a lot of body fat can also indicate a solar plexus that's out of sync. Okay, adrenal imbalances, intestinal problems, and such like. Okay, I'm not going to go into great detail because really this is just more an overall, a very simple kind of essence of the chakra. But one thing I also want to do say is that the great thing is when you start balancing this chakra, one of the keys, really thing is you start feeling a sense of determination. So you can have a sense of determination that you're not going to let this thing get you down. You know, it's taking responsibility and show up for yourself. How can I be reliable and really show up for myself daily? What activities can I do to really enhance my life? Okay, I can assure you that if you're going to be sitting in front of the TV day in and day out, all right, eventually it's going to wear you out. Okay, if you're going to listen to the news, that is going to wear your psychic energy out as well, and it's going to pollute your solar plexus. Very important. So, you know, it's what we feed ourselves that is so important. Okay, this is where it's going to get negative. All right, you can feel people's negativity normally, and where do you feel it? Through your sensory system in your gut. Okay, now again, when it's overdone and you're all over the place, you tend to lose your gut instincts. I mean, how many times you said, "Ah, shit, I heard that, or I sensed that, but I overrode it." Okay, that's to do with also, admittedly, to do with your intuition here and here, the third eye. Okay, this is the crown, but I'm not going to go into great detail. But actually, your intuition tends to work very much in tandem with the solar plexus. So that's really important. Okay, now the other thing that you can really kind of create is a sound. I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment, okay, and bring myself back on screen. And just to sort of say that actually you can do this to pep up your energy. You can do breath of fire, which is like, and really kind of radiate it out from your center. Use your belly sort of pulsating in and out, and pull your stomach muscles in as you breathe out, in, out, in, out, in, out. So it goes almost like a dog panting. All right. Now, the other way you can also do it is making a sound. Ah. You do that a few times, you're going to start feeling your belly kind of getting tuned up, and there's a sense of power and a sense of radiance in your stomach. Okay, so you're going to go I think this is why singing is really great. Okay, so you can of course sing. Singing. When you really sing, it comes from your center. If you're really doing proper breath work in singing, or you go to any choir, your choir mistress or master will tell you, you bring in the breath through your belly, and you can then project it out. Okay. Now, I don't think anyone can sing properly or sing and not feel good after that. So using that sound, particularly in the ah, it's like an orange ah, very helpful. Really, really helpful. Okay. Now, the other thing is, of course, which I always and have done, is to think about. Oops, not this one. Where are we? Nope. Let me go back here. Sorry. I need to go back to my folders. Is yoga, of course, right? I'm going to very briefly show you some body work postures. So that will also help. Now, yoga, again, like I said last week, works on many, many chakras kind of simultaneous, but some more particularly and specifically towards a certain chakra. All right, so I'm just going to have a quick look and dig out my yoga, and I'm going to share the screen again, and I hope we can do this very swiftly. Perhaps I should have just left it with screen sharing. Is it going to do it? Oh, I haven't pressed share yet. Okay, thank you. Yep, thank you. So here we are. We can sort of see some of the yoga postures I've got. Now, I'm going to bring this one up. Okay, this one is called the bow. All right, here. Let me just get my marker up as well. All right, now this is anything to do with using your core. All right, so the core is very good. I'll tell you what activities actually straight off the bat that's really good. Any physical activity is Pilates. That is very core based. When you put your navel in, all the emphasis of the exercises are done around the center, the belly, and pulling the navel in. Okay, breathing into the core as well as another one to activate it. So if you've been a bit lazy and over apathetic and you tend to be a couch potato, I would really recommend that you get up and you start using your core muscles as well as your energy center to start really activating a bit of spice, a bit of fire into you. Okay, so coming back to this drawing here, this is a very core based. Now, whether you're physically strong or not to do this particular exercise, okay, you basically balance on your butt. You sit on the floor and you balance on your butt, and you can bring your knees and give them a hug first. Okay, so you can bring your knees in this posture. So technically your feet will be down here, and you just bring it in. If you can't actually raise your legs, which is actually, this is a very intermediate to an advanced exercise, you just lean back, bring your feet off, take it off the floor, bring your core in, and you just balance, just pivot, just stay there. Okay, that pivot here will give you a good pull on your center as it is. Okay, now you can keep your knees here. You can also bring your hands to help you in this position and hold your shins in, tuck them in, or your ankles, depending. Now, if you're one of these fitter people or stronger in your core, then you go back to the original posture, okay, which is to raise your thing. You keep your eyes actually gazing upward. Imagine you're actually looking towards the sun, all right, which will also help in this posture. It's really strong, very empowering. Stay for a few breaths, just in breath and out breath, in breath and out breath. Okay, and you can. This is called the bow. No, not the bow. Beg your pardon. This is called the boat. Okay, I'm not quite sure why it's called a boat, but all you need to know is it's one that brings your core. Okay, another one that's classically good, of course, would be, this one, the plank. Now, this is very popular now in the fitness industry, very, very popular. And again, you bring your core in. So these can all be done indoors as well. So here you're using your core this way. Okay, you keep your gaze down towards the floor. You pull your legs back. You make sure that you're not dipping down in the butt here. You're just actually lengthening out and you're lifting up. Your hands are pressing down onto the ground and your feet are pulling in very much stationed, parked. Okay, and then when you've got in that good position there, you can think of your solar plexus. Just breathe in to the power center of the solar plexus. This will help to activate it. Okay, again, for those who are not that great fitness wise, you can come down onto your elbows. So you're much more, you're not as high up, okay, but you're much more on, and this is your hands here. Sorry about my drawing, but these are pin drawings. You're on your elbows like so, and then you're actually just lifting up the body in plank position. Okay, I think there's also another one, which spinal twists are very good. Okay, spinal twist. Now, any twisting, actually, if you notice, twisting from the core, from the center is very good as well, using your breath. All right, so that's also another one, but I will try and dig up another one. Where should my original drawings? Yes, I mean, there are so many, really. This is another one that also, yeah, this is another one. This is a pronating one. This is also quite a Pilates one. It's called the dolphin, I think, when your arms are at the back. So you're lying down. You start off with a lying down posture here. So you're actually here with your head down initially, okay, and your feet are just there. And what happens is on the in-breath and the out-breath, you lengthen yourself, you take your head up, your body stays down. But it's this bit, you see how here, oops, it's this bit that your core is also, your navel will be around here actually, but this bit is also engaged on the ground. So there's a sense of breath and a sense of power that happens here. This is also a very, very good solar plexus one. Your arms are taken away from the shoulders, just pointing away towards the back, and you just stay there for 2-3 breaths. Don't stay there too long. Just if your spine is not that strong, just don't stay up there too long. If you've got lower back issues, I'd avoid this one completely. Unless you really felt you can, but do not strain your back. You must work with your body. Okay, now everyone's at a different level. And finally, I think I'm going to dig out, if I can find it. Oh, this is also another really good one. I like this one. This one you can do standing up, okay? The legs are straddled. And here you can see, this is called the goddess pose, but this also I've seen actually in some of the martial art type postures. This is the hara here, okay? This whole hand posture, this is very Maori, very tribal, very holding up, a center with your core, okay? And you see where the legs are stationed, nice and wide, a good foundation, a good base, which is something that most of us might not have at the moment, okay? We've got our homes and stuff, but there could be a lot of insecurity around finances, fears around finances, about income, lack of income, what's going to happen. So these posturings can really help to give us a sense of grounding, all right? Really important. So again, legs nice and wide, draw your feet, make the connection with your feet, which I talked about in the first key, which is about being rooted, very important. Okay, and then with your arms nice and wide, just breathe in and breathe out. You can even also do that hara breath, which I talked about earlier, going, really can do that with your arms extended and really think about your core here. This is actually a really lovely one, and this is fun to do. You can do this with your family, you can do it with your girlfriend, you can do it on your own, take it outdoors, take it indoors, get tribal, get some tribal music on and really get into the groove from your center. Very, very important. I'm sorry if you can hear anything outside, but I think my neighbor's having a word with some people outside. But anyway, keeping on point and not getting distracted. All right, is there anything else? And like I said, spinal twists are very good as well. So you can do a sit down twist like that, which doesn't really help. That diagram is not very good. A lying down spinal twist, again, here is where you twist around the belly. So you bring your feet in your knees over to one side when you're lying down, and you take it over to the other side. Okay, so with this diagram, once you stayed in this position, you're obviously lying down, pronating, and what happens, you bring your knees in first in a fold, tuck your knees in when you're lying down, and then on the in-breath and on the out-breath, you draw your knees to one side. Okay, and then you just stay there, and then again, you breathe into the center of your being, into center of your core. Okay, and then you stay on one side for a bit, and then you take it to the other side. So what you do is you bring your knees back up first into center here when your knees are tucked in, and then you take it over to the other side. And so basically the whole thing switches, and you're doing it on the other side, and you're still working with the center point. All right. Now I'll leave the yoga bit here for you to sort of explore. There are very simple exercises, really, and they are just some kind of form of physical exercise that you can actually do. But planks are very good. Anything that uses your core. So, you know, think back to the classes that you've gone to. Think back to, you know, any of these studio-based classes that you've attended, any of the yoga classes, and think about your core. Your body has a really good sense of memory, so it'll be able to aid you in your power center by you just deciding to retrieve that information out for yourselves. Now, let me think what else. So we've covered the sound. That's a very empowering one. Okay, the belly breath, which we did. Power walking is also really good. Again, with power walking, you know, think about your power from your center. Lift up, ground your legs and your feet into the ground. Walk from your center and imagine that you're walking from your power center. Okay, and really sort of invigorating, getting the fire going. Particularly good for anybody who's lost their vive la joie, who are sort of experiencing a bit of depression as well, and feeling very apathetic. Working with these will really help you to resolve some of the boredom that you might be experiencing, ignite some fire and passion into you. You're going to start feeling more trusting and content, which is really important. And it's a way to keep that up as well. Okay. You know, it is hard to keep positive all the time. It is always, you know, the rain can get to you, the, you know, darker clouds, whatever. So it's particularly important now that the sun's gone in, and the forecast here in the UK is, you know, for the next week it's going to be raining. So the whole thing is going to change. People are not going to be going out, you know, radiating that sun. You've got to be able to bring that inner sun power, inner radiance of yourself into your system. And this is what's really fabulous right now, I think, about this happening as well, because now we're all being called to start bringing that sense of power and a sense of radiance in ourselves, being self-responsible as well, okay? Because a lot of the things that are happening is always about the external. Now, how can I get more responsible and reliable to myself? Okay, another factor to do with the positive on this one is to trust one's instincts, and particularly perseverance, which we are all going to need and be in touch with, okay? Yeah, and maybe also accepting maybe through our limitations. We're going to have bad days. We're going to have days when we're going to just feel floored. There are going to be days when we feel emotional. There are days we're going to feel like don't want to do anything. You know, they're okay. And by being self-accepting, by being in your esteem enough to know that you have that esteem and are worth it and you're enough, you can not feel or get hijacked by any external affair or any external situation, or through other people either. Okay, these are the elements that we're all striving for and towards. I might put the screen back too large. Anything else that I'd like to bring in? I'm just going through my notes. Oh yeah, let's think about some mantras. Okay, that's one thing I always bring in. Okay, and then I often tend to print them out, which you'll see on the screen shortly. So let's have a look. Some of the key mantras, again, while you're doing these core exercises or just sitting on your seat, on a chair, imagining the center, or even just to repeat while you're brushing your teeth, washing up, or anything like that. Think about the power in you. Okay, so one you could say is, I am empowered. Very simple one. I am empowered, you know, and think about it radiating from the inside of you. I am empowered. All right. Another one is, my power radiates from the center of my being. Okay. The power radiates from my center of my being. Just imagine it in your core, the sun shining. My power radiates from the center of my being. All right. Another one, this is a really great one as well, especially when, sometimes we might not feel it, but we can actually program ourselves, our subconscious mind, to feel differently. Okay. So these mantras, these affirmations, this sort of sense of, um, um, it's like an energetic and spiritual gym. This is okay. So, we have to strengthen ourselves somehow. And by doing it regularly, we will kind of have the command over ourselves, our emotions, and the way we think and the way we operate. Okay, well, another one I'm going to bring in is I am strong, centered, and determined. Okay, now most of us we re-evaluating where we are at, where we're coming from, where we're going to go back. Nobody really quite knows the direction of things. Some people have an inkling that maybe the company might be downsizing, and they might have an option to go part-time. Or some people now, I've spoken to one or two people, and they're now reconsidering their full-time role in the work, and for on and off for years, maybe had an inkling of wanting to kind of change their career. And this is an opportunity and has been an invitation and a gift for many to start reconsidering their priorities in life. So wherever you're at, and even if you don't know where you're going, trust that you will get your inner compass, your personal inner navigation system activated by doing the solar plexus practices. All right. And like I said, I will be doing my own YouTube on these chakras. So do tune into those, because they will work. They will totally activate you and put you on a different paradigm on how you show up in yourself and in life. And your relationships are going to change. Your life is going to change. Okay. But coming back to the mantra is I am strong, centered, and determined. Okay, I am strong, centered, and determined. And if you're feeling shit, you even say that. I am strong, centered, and determined to get over how shit I feel. It doesn't really matter what it is that you're being real. Okay, the danger with some mantras is you can't bypass how you really feel. So you can even say, each day I'm getting stronger and stronger. Or even like, today I'm not feeling that great, but I know by tomorrow, or I am going to work on becoming stronger. Okay. So another one is I am powerful, brave, and focused. Maybe we need to be brave at this time. Okay. Maybe we're on our own and feel a bit vulnerable, but being brave also is something that an energy that we can bring into our system. I'll repeat that one. I am powerful, brave, and focused. And shall I give another one? Let me see my notes. Oh, this is quite good, okay, as well, because of course we're now all weathering some kind of storm. Literally physical weather has changed, and this is actually a collective weather of change, one that we have no control over. So this is a really good one. And that boat pose that I showed you with the core one, when you're sitting up and pivoting, is particularly good for this as well, in terms of your physical stature of bringing that energy in, which is I am able to gracefully weather life's unexpected storm. Okay, I am gracefully able to weather life's unexpected storm. Okay, because if you go into my website, www.rafasava.com, there are lots of essays or articles there as well, and I talk about how life can be very unreasonable and shit happens. And I'm not into this sort of new age bull shit, BS, sorry, about things always be hunky-dory. They're not, and it's never going to be, but it's about how do we show up, how can we become more empowered, and how can we be really in our personal power. So I'm going to leave the affirmations here at this stage. The other thing I also have been encouraging people with the keys are kind of choosing the right elements of not only what we put through into our minds, but of course what we put through into our mouths. All right, so particularly for optimum health at this point, with your solar plexus, I would recommend anything yellow to eat. So it could be fruit-wise, grapefruit, bananas, pears, and some kind of orange, obviously, I mean, they're not specific to that, eat anything that's wholesome, nutritional, and of value to you. Avoid the sugars. The sugars will be very tempting at this point, because we want to sweeten our lives up, and that's a very solar plexus weakness. Okay, people with diabetes tend to have dysfunctional solar plexuses as well, which means if you strengthen your solar plexus energetically and spiritually, you might not have the tendency to kind of reach out for things that can cause certain ailments in the body as well. So try and avoid the kind of sweet, oversweet things, lots of kind of poor choice carbohydrates as well. So go for whole grains all that kind of stuff, okay, or limit the poor choice carbohydrates. I'm not a purist, and I'm not a health nut either. But I do recommend that you can creatively choose and make changes in yourself and your diet and how you operate in life to enhance your life for the better. So things like grains, I would say quinoa is a really good one. Pulses is another good one. Beans, particularly chickpeas, because they tend to be yellow in color. What else I've got? Oh yeah, lemons. Lemons are very, very good. So I tend to have a lot of salads with lemon dressing, olive oil, lemon, and salt and pepper. That's really great on pretty much all salads of all kinds, all vegetables. But another great one as well, which is really soothing tonic to have, particularly at this time, and it's really a good tonic for the liver, is hot water or warm water first thing in the morning with lemon, half a lemon juice squeezed. I put a bit of Himalayan salt in that, takes the tartness off and also provides my body with some minerals from the Himalayan salt. But and that's an acquired taste, but it's a really tasty acquired taste. And it's a really good tonic for the liver. And the liver is to do with anger. So again, if you've got anger issues, that really can help to cleanse the liver energetically from the anger, as well as, of course, detoxify and help to tonify the liver as well. So all round, very good stuff. Coming back to the grains, I would recommend quinoa, frike, barley, any of that kind of stuff. Nice whole grains, okay? Now, the other thing particularly good as well is green vegetables, but green vegetables become green from the sun, okay? So they're full of the sun energy, if you like, and so therefore any kind of green vegetables will be most beneficial to keep you centered and just kind of empowered. Pineapples are good, and plantains and all that, and yellow peppers as well. Now, I did say in my first key one that it is kind of good to eat things that are close to your own origin and tribe, or particularly in the country. Now, plantains is not a British food, okay, and nor is pineapples, but we do get them sold here. And if that's what your body's craving, then I suggest go and get it, okay? But those who come from that native land, or from that, where the food comes from, they will naturally veer towards that, and I think that is a very good thing. So just be honorable, or whatever country you come from. I think is it the dragon fruit? It's kind of yellow, an oriental fruit. Again, have those kind of things if you want to explore. But again, certain people from certain cultures will be veering towards certain foods like that. Okay, oatmeal is another great carbohydrate to do it. And the other thing is it's because of the lutein protein that's in these elements of food that is very beneficial. Lastly, but not least, in terms of food would be almonds, walnuts, nuts, hazelnuts, that kind of thing as well. Sunflower seeds, wow, I mean, sunflower seeds, right? So they're really good snacks. The other thing that came to mind is I would imagine curries. It's got a lot of spice, a lot of heat, which is really good. And also turmeric, okay? That is a really good antioxidant. So vibrationally and nutritionally, these are very, very pro solar plexus or third key food to have. So yes, and I've covered singing. I think we did that, and the sound we covered doing that. I do have here a mudra for overcoming anxiety. Maybe I will do this anyway. Okay, this is a mudra. Mudras basically is a hand gesture, kind of energetic yoga. Really, it's hand yoga. This one is actually, I thought I dug it out because it's to do with the solar plexus or your life energy center, but particularly good for overcoming anxiety. Okay, now we'll be going through ups and downs of anxiety, and that could be for anybody who's terminally ill, or people who've got illness, or people who've got concerns about family members and stuff. And when we don't feel we have power over certain things, it is very easy for the anxiety to start building up, okay, and to have it kind of sort of not have it swimming in our minds, swirling in our minds. So to get back into our sense of center, it is a really, really good one. And this one's also quite nice because it involves the heart chakra, which is just above the solar plexus, okay? Just a quick diagram. This is one of my worksheets, and you can see that the heart chakra, which is green, follows the solar plexus. I'll come back to the sheet in a minute. But this mudra is very good for overcoming anxiety. So I'm just going to show you, but get your 4 fingers up and bring your thumb in like so, okay? Really stretch them out. Imagine them tentacles or pinnacles of getting the sun energy into your fingers, Okay, very simply, you just breathe in, slow breath, and breathe out. And just have your hands just by your body, and take your elbows out if you can, so that's not forward, but onto the sides, kind of like parallel to the floor, and your hands. And as you breathe in, start rotating it and breathing out. Rotating. And breathing in, breathing out. You know, you can move the hands faster if you want, but make sure your breath is slow and controlled and really, but this mudra actually helps to shift the energy, right? Clear the vortex energy of anxiety. And doing this only a few minutes a day, literally, maybe even a minute or two. I'm not talking about long minutes. I'm talking about a handful of minutes can really help to eradicate anxiety. All right. And just really hold your hand just to rotate. Okay. Pivot them back and forth, back and forth. There is actually a mantra for this one, and it goes Harkanam Satnam, Harkanam Satnam. I might put that on the screen as well, but the most important thing is you can just rotate your fingers. And these practices are really good to do first thing in the morning. You know, just get into a ritual where you can actually start doing things for self-care to help you through daily in life, and particularly at times when we feel a sense of powerlessness or fear or instability, or particularly in the lockdown when there's a lot of things going on that we are feeling very blocked in and caged in as well, and not be able to go back to something. You know, there's no new normal to go back to as well. So there's no normal rather to go back to. So there is going to be a lot of anxiety for lots of people in lots of ways. So again, just practice this mudra. Okay, and all you have to is just engage in your center, in your power, bring your focus and bring it. And this is really lovely because, like I said, it's to do with your power as well as your heart. Okay, apparently, you know, you will feel the immediate difference, and will help you to become calm and centered, which is what we want, centered and calm. So have I covered everything? I tend to sort of lose the trail of what I want to say. One of the other things that I have been including is the external environment. So we've kind of covered a lot of the internal environment. We haven't got much control over the external environment, but one of the other external environment that we do have is on our personal home. Okay, so anything that might agitate you, I would suggest that you look at or you work on and eradicate. Okay, it could be things that are piling up. You know, maybe do some spring cleaning if you already haven't done that. Streamline things, you know, and maybe look at things like look at things and really keep things clear out. You know, like, do I really need this? Do you love it? So if you need it, love it, and have use for it, then keep it. If anything else, anything else that you don't, don't fit the need, love, and use, then I would suggest that get the power center in and trust your gut. Ask your gut. It will tell you. And I suggest that you get rid of it. So clean your environment. Very good thing to do, particularly in your kitchen as well. So if you've got too many things in your store cupboards there, that's another really good centered place to actually clear out. So I think I will leave it here. Yeah, like I said, it's a very good one, particularly for, kind of breaking any patterns that you might have at this time. But I'm not going to go too much into that. The solar plexus is a very strong, intense chakra. I love the solar plexus because it's one that has, I think for me, since my childhood, has really needed rectifying. And me owning my power has been a big feature in my life. And I think across the board, actually, especially for lots of women. And also, you know, harmonizing and balancing power for men as well. You know, some men don't really show up in their power. They've got no backbone and all that kind of stuff as well. And also we've got the other extreme where men are just too aggressive and bullyish, and they've sort of been raised to think that they can just dominate and blah, blah. So it's a huge one, and it is very much in the center of our being and center of our core. So wherever you are in life, whatever is happening, the solar plexus is one that is really a powerful one to reactivate, tune up, and strengthen. So the other thing I also want to mention is, like I said, I've got some other vlogs on my channel, so please do look at that and feel free. And I'll be doing lots of other work, and I'll be interviewing some people now shortly to have a conversation with various people who've got some other input in terms of how to sort of stay on path and how to do life in a way that could be life enhancing as well. And one thing I do want to say is if you actually subscribe to my YouTube channel, you will automatically receive one of those. You get a link to the chakras, and this gives you the sort of lowdown of each of what the chakras look like. Also the sound, the vibrational sound, which is really great and powerful to do, what each point, the key points of each of the chakras, some affirmations, or what do you call it, sort of suggested programming, or mantras, definitely there. I've put mudras as well. So it's a really key sheet, a great worksheet, or support sheet really, and also some simple yoga postures. I've got mine laminated and printed, but you can do whatever with yours. You can either have it on the screen or whatever. Anyhow, thank you for listening, and I hope you got something out of this. Stay bright, keep radiating, work on your inner light, shine through and be the light in your community, however you want to show up, and most importantly, for yourself though, and for all those that you love. It's really important that we all start stepping up into our own personal power, so we can become better citizens, better people, and just do life a lot better and respect the planet and everything else that comes with the turf of self-empowerment. Thanks again, and I will hopefully see you soon. I don't think I've left anything else out to say. Bye for now, and thank you. Bye.